Hello, my name is Tabitha Allen. I am currently enrolled in Grand Canyon University, pursuing a master's in biology with an emphasis in education. This would be a brief presentation of an overview of the structure and functions of the regions of the brain. Before I start, I would like to mention the objectives of this presentation. One, to give an overview of what the brain looks like. The second objective would be to identify the regions of the brain, and the third objective would be to discuss the structure and functions of each region. So let's get started. The brain is one of the largest and most complex organs in our body. It is made up of billions of neurons. Now, these neurons make contact with each other by forming countless signals between connections and synapses. Now, if we were to look at the brain, it can be viewed in three parts. You have the cerebrum, the cerebellum, and the brainstem. And I have a nice picture here displaying all of those parts of the brain. The cerebrum is the largest part, which is seen right here. It occupies most of your skull. It is divided into two hemispheres right here. You have a right one and a left one, and the right side controls the left side of your body, and the left side controls the right side of your body. They are held together by a bunch of fibers called corpus callosum. The cerebellum, which is right here, is located at the back under the cerebrum, and the brainstem is located below the cerebrum. Now that I have gone over the overview of the brain, let's look at the regions. The regions of the brain are located on the cerebrum. To get a better vision of the regions, I found a side view color-coded model. As you can see, the regions are located on the cerebrum part of the brain, which is all right here. Now, if we was to break down the cerebrum, it would be separated into lobes. The frontal lobe, which is the red part here, the parietal lobe is shaded blue, the temporal lobe is shaded yellow, and the septical lobe is shaded green. Now, each of these lobes have specific functions to carry out so that we as humans may be able to thrive and function. So the next couple of slides will cover the location and functions of each of these lobes. So picture here is the frontal lobe. It is located right behind the forehead and in front of the cerebral hemisphere, as indicated here in this faint outline structure of the skull. You can probably see the skull right here. And this is the frontal lobe. It is the largest of the lobes. The functions of the frontal lobes are prospective memory, which is a type of memory involved in remembering daily plans made from daily planning to lifelong plans. Speech and language. Now, I want to take a closer look at how speech and language occurs. There's an area within the frontal lobe called the Broca's area and the motor cortex. The Broca's area transforms your thoughts and ideas into words, and then the motor cortex retrieve the information from the Bronca area and then instructs the muscles that controls your face, mouth, tongue, lips, and throat on how to proceed to speak or talk. The other underlying functions, such as mood swings, personality, self-awareness, and social and moral reasonings, are some other functions of the frontal lobe. Another interesting fact about the frontal lobe is that out of all the lobes, this lobe is more subject to injury in traumatic brain injuries. Now on to the next region, the parietal lobe. The parietal lobe is located above the temporal lobe and right behind the frontal lobe as indicated on the same model from the previous slide. It is divided into two parts, anterior and posterior. The anterior parietal lobe includes the primary sensory cortex, and I found a picture of it right here. Get my little pointer here, right there. The functions of the anterior parietal lobe provides the ability to taste, smell, hear, see, and touch. In other words, it provides sensory perception. The posterior parietal lobe is responsible for integration and interpretation. To put it plainly, this is the area of the brain that interprets input from other areas of the body to perform higher complex functions, such as the ability to develop a plan and carry it out. Language, recognition, the ability to tell the difference between objects according to their size, shape, and weight. Using the same model, you can see the temporal region. It is located on the sides of your brain, right behind your temple within the skull. And you can see it right here. That's your temporal lobe. It's kind of sort of behind your ears and is the second largest lobe. The primary function of the temporal lobe is hearing and processing sound. There is an area of the temporal lobe called the Wernicke area, which is right here. As you can see, it's located right there on the temporal lobe. This is the area where phonology is represented, which is a process where words you pronounce is interpreted based on their tones and sounds, and the temporal lobes tries to link it to a previous learned sound. So on to our next one here. So my final um, region of the brain, we're finally here. It is the septical lobe. You can find this at the back of the skull. And as you can see, it's right here, located like kind of at the back of the cerebrum, back of the skull right there. Now, the function of the septical lobe is visual processing and interpretation. It involves color interpretation, facial recognition, and memory. Well, this concludes my presentation of the location and functions of the regions of the brains. Here are my references. If you have any questions, you can feel free to email me. Again, once again, my name is Tabitha Allen, and thank you for listening.